Alex had always believed in second chances. There was something comforting in the idea of taking something broken and breathing life back into it. Before we continue, please take some time to subscribe to Dailydose, like, and share this video with your friends. That's what led him to the old house on the edge of town, weathered by time, its paint peeling, floorboards groaning with each step. It wasn't perfect, but it had potential, and that was enough. The house whispered of memories long buried, of laughter and pain soaked into its walls. As he walked through the narrow hallway on his first night there, every creak and shift felt like an introduction to its forgotten soul. It wasn't until he reached the basement that things took an unexpected turn. Amid dust and crumbling plaster, something caught his eye, a faint outline behind a damaged wall. Curiosity stirred within him, the kind that pushed reason aside. He grabbed a hammer, heart beating fast. The first few swings stirred clouds of dust, but as the fragments of drywall fell away, they revealed a door, old, wooden, and sealed in silence. The moment was charged. Alone, bathed in flickering light, Alex reached for the handle. When the door creaked open, it wasn't what he saw that made him recoil. It was what he felt. The room beyond was cold, too cold for a basement. It was filled with odd relics, worn books in foreign languages, strange symbols etched into the walls, a small altar at the center stained with something dark and dried. The paintings on the walls, though covered in grime, depicted scenes that unsettled the soul, figures hooded in shadow, eyes that seemed to follow. The air was heavy, not just with dust, but with something older, something watching. Panic rose in his chest. He slammed the door shut and staggered backward, suddenly unsure whether this had been a discovery or a mistake. That night, sleep didn't come easily. By morning, Alex knew he needed answers. He began by speaking with his neighbor, Mrs. Phillips, a kindly older woman who'd lived on the block for decades. When he mentioned the house, her tone shifted. Her eyes clouded with something between fear and sorrow. She spoke of the previous owners, the Williams family. Reclusive, odd. There were whispers that they were involved in strange things, that people went into that house and didn't always come out. She didn't have proof, but the stories she'd heard chilled him. Whispers in the night, mechanical sounds, and even screams. Alex couldn't ignore what he'd found. He dove into public records and town archives. It was slow work, but piece by piece, a pattern emerged. Over the decades, several members of the Williams family had simply vanished. Official reports listed them as missing or presumed dead. But what struck Alex was how little coverage the cases had received. It was as if the town itself had quietly agreed to forget. The deeper he looked, the stranger it got. At the library, he met Sarah, a young woman with sharp eyes and a quiet urgency in her voice. She claimed to be a distant relative of the Williams family and asked what he had uncovered. Then, out of nowhere, she offered to buy the house, at double the price he paid. Her insistence only deepened his suspicions. Why would anyone want a house with such a dark past? When she wouldn't answer, he refused the offer. Something was being hidden, and he wasn't about to walk away from it. Later that week, in the attic, Alex stumbled upon an old, dust-covered chest. Inside was a leather-bound journal and a bundle of faded letters. The journal belonged to Elizabeth Williams, and its entries were a window into a mind slowly unraveling. What began as mundane reflections turned into ominous warnings. She wrote of a secret room, of rituals, and of voices in the walls. The letters echoed the same darkness, referencing names that matched missing persons from town records. The pieces were starting to come together, but it wasn't enough. That's when things started to change in the house. Whispers echoed from empty rooms. Doors opened on their own. Shadows danced where no light should have touched. His dog, usually calm, barked furiously at the wall that concealed the hidden room. Alex knew this was no longer just a mystery. It was something alive, something that didn't want to be found. He documented everything, hoping a pattern might emerge. He reached out to local historians, but even they offered little beyond scattered rumors and ghost stories. Then, in a floorboard beneath the living room, Alex found an old photograph. It showed a group of people gathered in the secret room, people who matched the names on the letters, people who had vanished. Sarah returned, more desperate than ever, warning him of danger and begging him to sell. But her fear only confirmed what he already knew. The answers were close, too close to turn away. He brought in a paranormal investigator, a seasoned man with the kind of eyes that had seen too much. Cameras, EMF detectors, audio recorders. They filled the house. The readings were strong. The presence in the house wasn't just energy, it was intelligent. They held a seance, and during it, something answered. A voice, ragged, bitter, spoke of betrayal, sacrifice, and a promise unfulfilled. The session ended in eerie silence, but the message was clear. The past hadn't been buried. It had been waiting. Alex returned to the secret room. Dust swirled in the beam of his flashlight. He uncovered trinkets, photographs, and letters. each one linked to someone who had disappeared. Behind a false panel, he found a box. Inside were documents and images connecting the family to ancient rites and a cult tied to local folklore. The names in the photographs matched the faces in the eerie paintings he'd first seen. People not just lost, but silenced. Victims of the family's dark practices. And now, the house had chosen him to tell the truth.